Hello, and welcome to New Beginnings Start Today, the podcast for people who want to grow deeper in their faith in the Lord. I am your host, Dr. Douglas Keffer, a minister, clinical pastoral counselor here in Roanoke, Virginia, and I have a passion to help people to live their faith. Today, we will talk about finding God's direction in life, and how you can become confident in your daily walk, seeking His guidance. Let's look at this. Knowing the direction that you are going to go in your life can become overwhelming and stop you in your tracks very quickly. You have choices to make, and making those choices causes you to have to go and make decisions that where it gets really tough if you don't have a clear picture of what it is that you are supposed to do. Choices such as, what outfit am I going to wear today? Am I going to have eggs or bacon for breakfast, or am I just going to have toast? Do I buy that new television that I have been looking at for the past 3 weeks? Am I going to make time to take off early this afternoon because our son's basketball game is this afternoon and we want to be there? Do we call our financial planner and tell him to go ahead and transfer that $10,000 into the IRA that we have set up? Am I going to take that new position offered me by the company? But it will mean I will have to pick up our family and move to a new town, and even in a different city, in a different state. Lots of decisions. These are all situations that call for you to make decisions about. The question is, in all of them, how much direction from God did you seek to make those decisions? King Solomon gives us great insight in how God's direction works when he writes, "A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps." Proverbs 16 and verse 9. Yes, we can sit down and look at the situation we are faced with that requires decisions and put together a plan that seems logical and the right way to go. The fact is that we have to learn how to interpret God's plan for what we are dealing with and seeking His direction by praying about the situation. We have to believe that God wants to help with what we are going to face in our day. And by seeking His guidance, we find that making the decisions that are necessary to get through our day become much easier. When you start your day sitting with God and praising Him for His many blessings, it opens your heart and mind to the guidance He gives you when you start those petitions. They are meant to be real questions about what He really would encourage you to do in that situation, or many situations your day or your week is demanding of you. This requires you to learn to trust what goes on in your mind and the feelings that come to your heart about the situation. Solomon goes on and tells us how to do that when he writes, "Trust in the Lord with all of your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths." Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6. The way you are really going to see God's direction in your life is when you learn to trust in the Lord with all your heart. Trusting God to this extent really takes courage. There are so many influences that come at us at any given time when we are trying to make the right decisions about very important issues. I had a client who was really trying to make the decision of taking a job that was going to take him out of town and literally out of the state he and his family are living in. He told me all the things he was looking at about taking the position and why he felt, quote unquote, that taking the job was the right thing to do. He looked at me, and when I asked him this question, "What is the Lord telling you about this decision?" And in that look, he came to realize that he was really not asking God for his direction, but leaning on his own understanding of what it is that he should do. I am glad to say that my question opened a dimension of this man's life that has been growing over the years, and God has blessed him and his family as he has learned to work at trusting God with all his heart. Trusting God to this length means that we are working every day at growing our relationship with him through our prayer lives and studying his word. There is just no substitute for the need to grow our lives in this way. It becomes so easy for us to approach the things that we have to deal with on a daily basis with our own understanding of what needs to be done. How many times have you wished that you would have made a different decision about an issue? Hard to count how many times, because they've been so many. When Solomon encourages us to lean not on your own understanding, it is difficult to grasp the importance of that admonition in our society. Our secular society does not value our Christian perspective of being able to go to God for the guidance that is necessary to deal with what we are going to face in our day. We are told in so many ways that this idea of needing to pray about an issue is nonsense. The secular thinking process refuses to believe that there is a God who listens, and so they have to make the best decisions they can, quote, on their own, unquote. I want you to believe that that is a lie from Satan, and doing things on your own rarely works out the way that you think that it should. Listen to the truth of Psalm 37 and verse 23. The steps of a man are established by the Lord when he delights in his way. We are promised that when we have to face today, that we can do that and will have God's guidance when we are not leaning on our own power, but trusting God to help us. This allows God to have joy about our trust in his guidance. Another huge step in finding God's guidance in your life is your ability to, in all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Proverbs 3, and verse 6. It takes work to get to this place in one's life. Society tells us that we don't have to believe in anyone or anything but ourselves. How's that working for us? Not too well, with all that we see that is happening today that tells us, that we are moving in a moral decay that is frightening. It does not look like that there are many people acknowledging God in much that they are doing. I want to encourage you to sit and think about this promise for a moment. We are promised that if we put God in the middle of all that is going on in our lives today, He is going to give us direction to do what is best for our lives and those around us. We will have the privilege of affecting people through how we are living, because they are going to see the blessings that are given to us because God is directing our paths. King David shares this truth: I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. Psalm 32 and verse 8. When you believe this truth, it will allow you to listen to what God is saying to you in your prayer life and believe that He is watching everything that goes on with you in your day. I want you to believe that that He is ready to give you His counsel today in what He is directing you to do. The ability to see God's direction in your life depends on how willing you are to learn to listen to what His Spirit is saying to you. You have to listen to what you are being told through the ministry of the Holy Spirit in your life. And as you do that, King Solomon tells us there are many plans. There are many plans in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the Lord's counsel, that will stand. Proverbs 19 and verse 21. Yes, you have many things that are bombarding you and you all day long. It takes work to be able to shut out the noise of what the world is saying to you and listen to what the voice inside you is giving you guidance on what you should do in the situation. I know all too well about the clamoring of the many options that are thrown at us about different decisions. One of the biggest ones my wife and I had to deal with is the move that we made from going from being full-time in the pulpit ministry to being full-time in a private Christian counseling ministry. What to do? Then the Lord's counsel was evident when I heard in my spirit this from the Lord: I have prepared you to sit in that chair and share my counsel with those I will send to you. That counsel stood, and I was blessed to have a Christian counseling practice for nearly 28 years and a pulpit ministry before that for over 23 years. I could have very easily followed the plans in my heart, which would have made me stay in the pulpit ministry and resist what was prompting me to do and what God was prompting me to do. His counsel that allowed me to make that change transformed my life for the better. My prayer for each of you is that you will be diligent in your desire to hear God giving you your life's direction. Listen to what God said through the prophet and to the prophet Jeremiah. Call to me, and I will answer you, and I will tell you great and hidden things that you have not known. Jeremiah 33 and verse 3. Please accept God's invitation to allow Him to unlock the counsel He has to give to you by directing your life in the direction that will bring you joy and great fulfillment, that will bless you and those you come in contact with every day. Thank you for listening to this episode, and I want to invite you to contact me and share how you find God directing your life. Answer for me this question: how has seeking God's direction in your life changed your life for the better? If you are seeing this on YouTube, please click the subscribe button and the like button, and also click on the share button and share it with all your friends. That would be so helpful to me. You can also find my podcast on Spotify now. Tell me about other issues you would like me to address by leaving your comments. And you can email me at drdouglaskeffer@gmail.com. Until next time, God bless each of you.